It's not Friday, but we're in the shed. It's Ask GMBN, where we try and answer all your mountain bike related questions. You can leave them in the comments down below or via our social media, Ask GMBN, the hashtag. Now last week, Neil opened up a can of worms about valve caps. My new bike, right behind me there, it's still got the valve caps on, but Neil said to take them off. It's entirely up to you guys what you want to do, but I would recommend if you're riding in loose rocky conditions, then maybe I could suggest leaving them on as they might get damaged. But on to the first one, and that comes from Magoo 308. He's participating in his first cross-country race in 3 weeks' time and is looking for some nutritional advice. How much should he be eating and what should he bring along to the race? Well, Magoo, I'd certainly recommend bringing your bike and your kit as the first off, and make sure that you do eat in between your races. You want to have about 60 to 80 grams of carbohydrates per hour, and you want to ensure that you're also drinking and remaining hydrated. The next one comes from one Goggle Down, and he's saying, what's your opinion on riding a hardtail for enduro? There's certainly nothing against it. If you can't afford going for a full suspension bike, then it's a great way to build up a base of skills. However, if you can afford going for the full suspension bike, you'll find it's a lot more comforting. Now Gavin Parnes, he's asking how he can make his suspension more responsive without taking any pressure out the fork or adjusting his spring rate. This is a bit of a tricky one. Unless you've got quite a high-end fork with low or high-speed adjustment, then you're not really going to be able to do that. But what I could recommend doing is just playing around with the pressures, and I'm going to throw it to how to set up your sag.
What we're looking for is about 30%. So if I lower myself onto the bike, get all your weight up and on the pedals, and you're looking for that rubber ring to about a third of the way along that stroke. If it's any further down, that means your shock's too soft, so you want to put a bit more air in it. Same the other way around, that's too hard, you're not getting enough sag.
The next comes from Still Cruising Arved, and he says, any tips for mental preparation for racing? This is a really hard one. Everyone's different, and it's natural to get nervous, especially if it's your first or you've only done a few races. You want to do as well as you can. I'd say just don't overthink it. Go there, have some fun, ride around with your buddies if you are, and don't overcomplicate it. Otherwise, you're going to be thinking about the outcome rather than the process. Rai Kuda is asking for some tips on how to ride trails that you've never been ridden. Now we've actually already got a video on this, and it's all about how to ride trails blind, so I'm going to throw straight to that, and hopefully that'll help you out on the trails.
Okay, so on the approach I can see down the trail there's a huge rock roll. It's completely blind, and I don't know whether I have to drop it or ride it. At that pace I would be unable to drop it. I would advise with obstacles like this that you really stop, have a look. Here's another one, it's far more visible. I'm able to do that one because I can see my landing and beyond down the trail.
Okay, it's time for the quickfire round. Your questions, but we're going to answer them short but sweet. The first one comes from Javier Martin, and he's saying, is it good to have a dropper on a cross-country bike? Yes, it is. Some people are against it, but Julian Absalon had one in Cairns in Australia. Carol Motola says, disc brake pads, metal or resin? For me, I have a preference of running metal pads, but it's everyone's own opinion. I feel that they work all round. And Heptic is saying, I like my Hydra Pack, but it does get in the way. Any other options? Well, we've actually done a few videos on how to go out riding without a backpack, so check them out. The next one is from William Graham, and he says, can you do a video on how to install a new brake system? Yes, it's live. Check out our mechanical playlist and you'll find it right there. And then Nathan Wells is asking, what is the tyre pressure for enduro? He's 10 stone. Nathan, I could maybe recommend going about 20 psi in the front, depending on your tyre casing, and 24 to 26 psi in the rear. Just depends how hard you ride. You don't want to be digging out, and it depends if you're tubeless or not. Ewan Brown is asking whereabouts I'm from in Scotland. Well, Ewan, I'm from Stirling, which is centrally located, and we've got loads of great riding nearby. Tom Millick is saying, Mark Beaumont Pro Bike, question mark? Yeah, I guess we should probably do it at some point. It would be cool.
So let's have a look. Sorry.
Chinonian guy is saying, can you guys do a video what to have in your mountain bike toolbox? That's a good one, but you could actually check out what the pro mechanics have, and that's in our playlist. Go and check that one out. And then J&M Productions is saying, is it possible to increase the travel in his rear shock without replacing the frame? Don't do that. That's not a good idea. John L is asking any update on those riding jerseys from GMBN. He was wanting one for the summer. Yes, coming soon. Hopefully we'll have a summer clothing line. Just bear with us, we're working on it. And then Best Line Films, he's asking where he can get a hoodie. Well, I can throw you straight to shop.gmbn.com and you'll be able to get hoodies, sweaters, t-shirts, all sorts there. So go and check that out, and that's the best way to support us. That's it this week for the Quickfire Round. Leave them down below and we'll try and get them in next week's show. Let's have a look at the correct me if I'm wrong section, and this is where you guys send in clips of you riding and we try and help you improve. The first one comes from Stephen Richmond and he's asking about bunny hop technique. So Stephen, to bunny hop higher, what you actually want to do is you want to drop further back over the rear, you want to really use your legs, and when you're coming up you want to really push through the hips, really drive the bike up, and that'll get that back end up nice and high so you can get over pretty much anything then. The second one comes from Will Bob 10 and he's down riding some dirt jumps and is looking for some tips and technique on how to find flow and get a bit smoother through the trail so he's carrying his speed. Let's just have a look. Yeah, so I can kind of see what you're going wrong there. You really want to think about using your whole body to compress through the rhythm line, really keep the smoothness flowing right around the berm so you're carrying your speed, you're not dropping anything, and just really think about working on that bunny hop technique. It's sort of the basics of jumping, and you can also check out a video that Neil's done, and that's common jumping mistakes. So that's it for another edition of Ask GMBN. If you want your questions answered, then why not leave them in the comments down below or send them into ask@gmbn.com. Don't forget you can use that hashtag AskGMBN. For more great videos on GMBN, why don't you click just up there for top 5 bits of tech this year, or you could click down there for 5 exercises that are going to help improve your cornering. As ever, don't forget to click right in the middle to subscribe. It's free, and you get a great video every day of the week.